Hello everyone and welcome to our senior school information evening. Naturally this year has been a little bit different with COVID, so we've put all this online as a bit of a webinar for you, and we'll go through VCE, VCAL and the VET offerings for 2021. So I'll hand over now to the VCE coordinator Casey Gray, who will speak on VCE.
So I'm Casey Gray and I'm the VCE coordinator. In year 11 and 12, there are two different senior pathways. So you can choose the VCE option or the VCAL option. So both of these are senior school certificates, same level qualification, just different types of learning, different certificates. So I'm going to be going over the VCE, which is on the blue side there. So the important thing to note about VCE is it's required for direct entry into most university courses. But you can still study a VET certificate or a school-based apprenticeship with VCE. So to begin with, it's always a really good idea to be setting a goal. So when you're thinking about which of those pathways is better for you, start with setting a goal. So think about what do you want to be when you grow up? So we want to make sure that what you choose to do in year 11 and 12 will help you to get there. And what do you want to get out of year 11 and 12? So that'll be different for a lot of people. What are you interested in, or what do you enjoy studying? And then what education and career pathway is for you? So the Victorian Certificate of Education is the VCE, and students must complete a minimum of 16 units to a satisfactory standard, and also the attendance rate will need to be 85% or higher in each subject. So 1 unit is a semester of study in a subject. And out of these 16 units, you need to have at least 3 units of English and at least 3 other Unit 3 and 4 sequences. So Unit 3 and 4 sequences are generally the ones that are completed in Year 12. With that 3 units of English, that's probably the most important part of your VCE. So those units of English are absolutely crucial to actually getting that certificate at the end of Year 12. And out of 3 of those units, 2 of them have to be Unit 3 and 4. So you need to get a satisfactory mark in both Unit 3 and Unit 4 English to get the VCE. The workload in VCE in Year 11 will be 6 subjects. 1 of those will be English, 1 will be maths, and then 4 other subjects to be chosen by the student. Some students might study a Unit 3 and 4 subject in Year 11, and that's generally because they've studied a Unit 1 and 2 subject in Year 10. And in Year 11, it's expected that a minimum of 10 hours of out-of-class study is completed each week. Then in Year 12, it goes down to 5 subjects, so there'll be 5 study periods a week to allow you to stay on top of your workload. 1 of those will be English, and then 4 other subjects are chosen by the student, and generally they're the Unit 3 and 4 of the Year 11 subjects. So our units go Units 1, 2, 3 and 4, and in most cases students will follow the same subject through all the way for those 4 units. And in Year 12, it's expected that a minimum of 15 hours of out-of-class study is completed per week, so about 3 hours per subject. This is just an example of subject choices. So you can see the Year 11 ones down on the left-hand side there. So we've got English, methods, studio arts, chemistry, history, and outdoor ed. Because this student did a Unit 3 and 4 subject in Year 11, which was outdoor ed, they then don't have one to do in Year 12 there, so that one becomes study periods. And the rest of them continue on, apart from history, in which we offer global politics, which comes after history. So the student's done Units 1 and 2 history, and then Units 3 and 4 global politics. So these are the different methods of assessment. So to begin with, these are some words that you'll hear thrown about a little bit. So an outcome is what a student must know and be able to do. So that's when our S and N grades come in. So it's either the student was able to do that satisfactorily or they weren't. School assessed coursework, or a SAC. So these are graded tasks set by the classroom teacher and actually assesses the level of achievement. So when we're looking at the outcome, it's just an S or an N. It doesn't matter how well it was done, as long as if it was done, if it was shown, it's an S. and then the SAC will actually measure the level of achievement. So then we've also got the school assessed tasks, which are SATs, and that's assessed against externally set criteria. So generally that's a folio, and it'll happen in your design subjects, so studio arts, physcom, and product design tech. So in year 11, all of the work is assessed internally by classroom teachers, and your S or N for the outcome gets reported to the VCAA, and that will appear on your transcript at the end of year 12. And your SAC marks will appear on your reports, and you can use those for things like scholarship applications or early university entry applications. In year 12, in units 3 and 4, there's internal assessment by classroom teachers. So again, you do SACs and SATs, and then the external assessment, which will be an exam or a performance or an oral examination in the language subjects. So in year 12, when you actually sit those internal assessments, the number, so like your grade for that assessment, gets sent off to VCAA, and it's used to calculate your study score as well as your exam, which then all get put together to make up your ATAR. So what is a satisfactory standard? So every single subject at the VCE level has a study design with key knowledge and skills listed for every outcome. So to get an S for that outcome, you'll need to demonstrate understanding of the key knowledge and skills for that outcome. So if you haven't been able to demonstrate those to a satisfactory standard, that's when an N is awarded. And if you get an N for any outcome, you'll then get an N for that unit, which means that it doesn't get included in your 16 units to get your VCE. So the first point there I've just spoken about, so any unit with an N result, so if you haven't been able to show a satisfactory understanding, it won't count as a unit towards your VCE. However, if you complete some tasks and find that you haven't shown a satisfactory standard, you can then complete additional tasks to actually show that you have improved your understanding. Scholarships, there's a bit of information there, so maybe pause it if you want to read through it. I will mention the Chris and Mally Tilley Scholarship, which is probably one of the biggest ones that our school offers. And it's also important to be attempting different things in year 10 and 11, so you can use those on your scholarship applications in year 12. So volunteering, they'll ask for evidence in your reports about your academic success, leadership experience, and also records of any disadvantage that has impacted your study. So some frequently asked questions. So number 1, can I do a unit 1 and 2 subject in year 10 or a unit 3 and 4 subject in year 11? So the answer to that one is yes. When you want to do a unit 1 and 2 subject in year 10, what you need to do is you need to apply at the time of your subject selections, and then that application will be taken into consideration when we're doing the timetabling. So if you have any more questions about that, perhaps maybe ask me, get in contact with me after the presentation, because that'll probably be different for everyone. Why do students study 22 units over 2 years when only 16 are required? So as I spoke about, if you get an N for an outcome, it will then give you an N for the unit, and then that one doesn't count towards your VCE. So by studying 22 units, there's a little bit more leeway, I suppose, if you do happen to, have a bad semester or circumstances out of your control. And also by studying the 22 units, you'll be doing 5 subjects in year 12, and a minimum of 4 is actually required to get your VCE. So you've only got 1 subject leeway there in year 12. So it's really, really important that you do study all of those 22 units. And then what happens if I'm sick when a SAC or a SAT is scheduled or due? So you will need a medical certificate for that to sit it at another time with no disadvantage. Or if you don't have a medical certificate, you get a score of 0 for that task, and then you need to complete something else to show that you actually have a satisfactory understanding. And some words of advice from current VCE students. So put the hard yards in during year 11. It'll give you a strong foundation for year 12. And make sure in your subjects, you're looking at subjects that are interesting to you. If you're enjoying them, you're probably more likely to do well in them. And also look at subjects that are prerequisites for any uni courses that you might want to do. So for example, most things in the medical field will require maths methods. So start thinking about that now. University is only one option of pathways after school. So there are lots and lots of different things you can do. And make sure you seek help from your parents, teachers, peers, home group teacher, and year level coordinator before things get too difficult, so we can put support in place for you. Right, I'm going to hand over now to the VCAL coordinator, Sue McCaffer.
Hello, I'm Sue McCaffer and I am the VCAL coordinator. I will outline the VCAL program for you because this will assist you with your subject selections and planning your pathway for next year and beyond. Is the VCAL pathway for you? It depends on your goals. If you're thinking about direct entry to university, then as Casey said, VCE is definitely the pathway for you. The VCAL pathway is a great option if you are aiming for early employment, apprenticeships, further studies and TAFE. VCAL can still lead to university entry, usually following TAFE courses or via mature age entry. Both the VCE and VCAL pathways, as Casey has said, they allow you to study a VET course or a school-based apprenticeship. But if you study VCAL, or if you follow the VCAL pathway, VET and work placement or a school-based apprenticeship are a compulsory part of the VCAL course. How does VCAL differ to VCE? As I mentioned before, VCAL prepares you for that early entry to employment, apprenticeships and further training. It also gives you wonderful opportunities through connections with our local and wider communities and key stakeholders. Education through teamwork and practical experience occurs via projects that are central to the VCAL learning. VCAL core subjects branch from these experiences and from student interests. There are 5 VCAL strands that need to be met. And these VCAL strands are literacy, numeracy, industry-specific skills, work-related skills, and personal development skills. Now, to meet those strands, we have 3 VCAL core subjects: literacy, numeracy, and the third subject is a combination of 2 traditional subjects from the past. It is personal development and work-related skills. VET and work placement and school-based apprenticeship are compulsory. I keep emphasising this because these link you with workplaces and link you with training, and that is crucial for your preparation for the workforce. Work placement will open up job opportunities and there is potential for early employment if you work hard for your employer and prove yourself. Short courses held at the school also give credit towards VCAL certificate and job-related skills. These include responsible service of alcohol, food handlers, coffee making, and first aid. Very handy for a second job while you're at school too. Here is some advice from Year 12 students. If you can't make up your mind, when in doubt, take the VCE pathway. In VCAL, you need to be organised and motivated to plan and carry out VCAL projects. You have a greater responsibility for making decisions and ensuring your success. So VCAL can be harder than VCE. Please read the VCAL sections of the handbook carefully as they explain unit requirements and more of the technical detail about VCAL. Which pathway is for you? If you want to work in teams to plan, organise and carry out projects to help others and to develop personal, social and leadership skills, then VCAL might be for you. You will need to work hard in VCAL and the reward for hard work is fun along the way, but it's also reaching your goals. I look forward to talking to you about your options. if you are considering a VCAL pathway.
Hi, I'm Cindy Bibby, and most of you will know me as the registrar at Stawell Secondary College, but also one of my duties is to be the VET coordinator. So as Sue McCaffrey just mentioned, VET actually stands for Vocational Education and Training in Schools, or VETIS as it's sometimes known. So studying a vocational education and training program allows students in years 10, 11 and 12 to get a head start on their education and career path. So yes, you can apply to study a VET course in year 10, and it is a good idea if there's something that relates to your chosen pathway. VETIS programs are generally completed over 2 years. And provide a qualification or partial completion of a certificate 2 or 3. The course often includes on-the-job training and learning and used in simulated environments. That is where more work placement is involved. So if you decide to do VCAL and actually you will study a VET, you'll do a work placement 1 day a week, and that is related to your VET course that you're studying. VET programs can contribute to both VCAL and VCE, which was mentioned earlier in the slides. Excuse me. VETs can also contribute towards a study score that counts towards your ATAR. Now, the VET certificates for 2021 are changing slightly for next year. So as you can see on the slide, there'll be 3 VET certificates on site at Stawell Secondary College in 2021. So you're going to have Cert 2 in Automotive Studies, which we operated this year. So that's if you wanted to become a mechanic. There's the new one of Certificate 2 in Body Repair Panel Beating. We actually offered this at Stawell a couple of years ago, and we're going to get that back next year. So as the name says, that's if you want to be a panel beater. The other one is Certificate 2 in Salon Assistant, which is also a very popular course with our on-site hairdressing. So that's if you wanted to be a hairdresser. If you wanted to do other VET certificates, there's some available through Ararat Secondary College. So you would travel down to Ararat by bus every Wednesday or Wednesday. So it'll be Certificate 3 in Health Services Assistant. So that's if you wanted to work in hospitals as a nurse's aide, as a porter or something like that. Certificate 2 in Hospitality Kitchen Operations, that's towards being a chef. And there's Certificate 2 in Music, which actually outlines a music program and can be quite popular. The other certificates that are going to be offered are through Marion College. So that's Certificate 3 in Early Childhood, and that's if you wanted to work in kindergartens or childcare facilities. And Certificate 3 in Fitness, which is a new one for our little cluster at Stawell and Ararat, which I think probably will be very popular, and actually if you want to work in gyms or personal trainer. The next lot of VET certificates will be operated out of Horsham. Now, a lot of our students went to Horsham this year every Wednesday up via bus, and it worked very, very well. So it actually increases the options available to our students. So there's between our on-site Stawell, Ararat College and Marion College and Horsham, there's actually a huge range of VET certificates on offer. Bear in mind, next year, I don't think the bus fares will be free. There will be a small charge. It's usually about $6 return travel each day for a student every Wednesday. So on offer up there is Certificate 2 in Agriculture, which is actually farming, Cert 2 in Building Construction, Cert 2 in Community Services, Cert 2 in Dance, Cert 2 in Electrotechnology, Cert 2 in Furniture Making, Cert 2 in Plumbing, so if you want to be a plumber, Cert 2 in Engineering, Cert 2 in Screen and Media, which is more IT programming and development, and Cert 3 in Sport and Rec. Now I'll just talk a little bit about a school-based apprenticeship. It's available to secondary school students over 15 years and is enrolled in either VCE or VCAL. SBAs offer students the option of combining part-time employment, school and training. An SVA can lead to nationally recognised qualification. SVA is a minimum of 1 day of normal school week, so it's usually roughly 13 hours per week between working 1 day and 1 day at TAFE training. Just bear in mind, school-based apprenticeships are not the same as work placement. They are different. School-based apprenticeships are a part-time employment, ticking off some units towards a full-time apprenticeship qualification. Work placement is like work experience, 1 day a week when you're studying VCAL. They're two separate things. Just to finish up on, Subject Expo is going to commence tomorrow, Wednesday, 19th of August. Naturally, this year, like everything else, it will be online. Students will listen to teachers present on elective subjects for 2021. Staff have recorded their subject presentations, and this Expo will allow students to make informed decisions regarding their subject selections for 2021. So you'll find out what subjects are on offer for next year. The reason we do this is students then select a draft list of subjects for next year where we can create timetabling blocks. So then with the Subject Expo students selecting their draft subjects, we're able to get the best fit. So not many students miss out on what subjects they want to do. And then from this, final subjects and subject selection interviews will happen, and that will be the following week, so next week. All teacher presentations and videos and PowerPoints for students and parents to watch can be found at that address, and it's actually a web page I've created off the Stawell Secondary College website, and I'll send out messages, messages all about that as well. So there'll be one web page on our Stawell Secondary College website that will contain all this information as well as this presentation. We really encourage parents and carers to listen and watch these presentations, so they are also fully aware and involved with their child in selecting 2021 subjects. As I mentioned earlier, subject selection interviews will occur next week. I've already Zuno messaged out to students and parents the dates and how to book these. All interviews will be online, so no student or parent will be required to attend on site at Stawell Secondary College, and all students continue their remote learning timetable as per normal. So in past years, certain year levels had certain days off to attend their interviews. This year, there are no student-free days. All students continue with their remote learning. So I want to be very clear with that. So there's some dates. I won't go through them. You can see them. Each year level's got a certain day and you can book in for your subject selection interviews. As says on the next slide, how to book an interview. So you can book it online, submit the form via college website. You can scroll down, there's a great large blue icon, 2020 subject selection, you hit that for book now. You select your dates and times you prefer to book the interview, and that email will be sent directly to me. It's basically first in, best dressed, so if you get into it early, you should get your requests for dates and times. You need to do this by this Thursday, by noon, 20th of August, because I've got to get organised for the following week, and then I will send you a Zuno message to confirm your date and time for interview. Either we can do a WebEx or via telephone, whichever's easier. I do encourage, if you can, parents or carers to be present at the interview online, but under the circumstances, if you're working or other commitments, that's fine, as long as we can meet with the student. Once they select their subjects, I will Zuno message all parents to let them know what subjects have been selected by your child and if you approve or not. So don't think that you won't be involved in the process if you're not involved in the interview. Please book early to get your preferred time, like I said, for the interviews. Otherwise, there may be no room for movement if you can't make the time, because I will have to allocate. And just finally, year level handbooks are available on the college website. as per normal, and they will also be available on the Subject Expo webpage that I mentioned before on Straw Secondary College website. But they're always there if you go to students on the home page and down to handbooks. So they're the 2021 year level handbooks. So they're all done. And next slide. So the last thing basically is questions. If you've got any questions for Casey, Sue or myself, please do message us. We're happy to answer any questions. It is quite a lot to take in between VCE, VCAL and VET, and we are here to help. And no question is a silly question, just ask us and we should be able to solve it for you. Thank you. That's the end of the presentation, and I hope you enjoy your subject selections coming up.